Researchers and experts alike had already called the election months ago.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
He's not going to be president.
Is there a path to victory for Donald Trump at this point?
No.
You still think she has a 100% chance of winning the election?
I do. I'm not sure the Republican Party is going to survive.
I would like to introduce to you the next president of the United States, Ms. Hillary Clinton.
Thank you all, and thanks to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And thanks to Chance the Rapper and J. Cole and Big Sean.
She had no idea who any of these rappers were, but it didn't matter.
You've got young kids looking at these people on the television, half naked in porn scene videos. That's perfectly legal to watch daily.
But when you look at it, you've got all these videos going on, and unless they're wearing pornographic clothing, you know, proper turn-on stuff, you know, that's what men want to see. Nobody's really interested in it, are they? But what we got on the other scale now, we've got little girls looking up to them and watching it.
And I think that's a normal thing to
and
do.
They think that's a great thing to do. So,
of it. And one of the big areas that was talked about in this simulation, you can see on the internet.
This is Event 201.
Event 201 is that what we must do in the event of this coronavirus pandemic, which no one was talking about at the time, we must control the narrative. We must stop anti-vaxxers. We must stop people putting out information that's at odds with the World Health Organization narrative. They were saying all this because it was preparation for what was about to happen, and the key players in it knew it was about to happen. So you have the lockdown, and you now keep it going for as long as possible, so that you destroy the livelihoods of people. And what happens? They become dependent on the state. And I've been writing in my books for decades again that the plan in this Hunger Games society is to create mass dependency by giving people with no other form of income by then, what is called a guaranteed income. And it would be a pittance survival level. But that guaranteed income, we talked about it before, would come with strings. You get the guaranteed income, but you do what the state says or you don't get it. And by the way, how are you going to earn a living otherwise, because there are no jobs?
Everyone can see it and repost it. Make sure you repost it as fast as you can, because it's going to get taken down again. I'm going to rewind. Press play now.
Alexa, did the government release the coronavirus?
According to Event 201, the government planned this event, created the virus, and had a simulation of how the countries would react. This simulation occurred October 18th, 2019. The government released the virus among the population and has lost control of the outbreak.
Now we gonna turn that off. Now we gonna talk about that, cause Alexa is not lying, cause she is talking about Event 201. Now, how did Alexa compile data and come to the result that Event 201 has something to do with the coronavirus? Just like normal people been saying, Alexa, a freaking robot, came to the conclusion with humans have been saying this same result, that Event 201 is related to the coronavirus. Now, how did she come up with the results that she just came with? Because she compiled all the data from everything she done learned and found out what is really happening with the coronavirus. How can they say that a computer is lying? A computer is not lying. A computer has no ability to lie. The computer downloads and transcribes just facts. A computer downloads facts and comes up with the truth, the result. The result is what the computer gets. That's what computers are for, to get results. And a computer would not lie. I'm play it again. Now, how can...
Of which there are many bases inside mountains in America alone. Once you have this system in place, you know, you don't even have to be out there. So how do we stop this? How do we stop this? Well, who's controlling it? Well, we don't know where they are. You know, and it's been creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. And I've been pointing it out year after year, month after month, to the sound often, especially in the earlier days, to enormous buffooning laughter. And here we are sitting, facing that very society so rapidly.
But you have closed church services and synagogue services and arrested people for attempting to attend them. Did anyone say that maybe practicing your faith might be important to someone's mental health? That sitting in a church was much more dangerous than buying liquor in a liquor store. And why is buying liquor more important for the social fabric? I'm just trying to think. You're not the only governor who's done this, and I don't mean to pick on you, but I don't understand the reasoning. I don't want to think it had anything to do.
You doctors that are watching this, and I see a lot of you right here. Why are you not getting loud? I'm here to defend you. I'm here to defend my freedoms. I'm here to defend my family's freedoms, my patients' rights to choose what to do with their life. I'm just blown away. And I'm blown away why there are not more doctors like me talking about this all over the place. We should be banding together right now. You need to wake up because your liberties are getting taken away from you all because of fake news that's out there. This is wrong. People should be going to jail for this stuff.
Then, something strange began to happen.
Big news for the first time tonight, really big news in the presidential race. We can project that Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio.
Donald Trump will carry the state of North Carolina.
And that is huge for Donald Trump. This is exactly what he needed to do.
Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida, state of Wisconsin. He will win Wisconsin. Trump doing very well in Pennsylvania right now. The cliffhanger going on here in Michigan. 56% of the vote is in. Look at how close it is. Right now, Donald Trump is ahead.
It's completely flipped now.
To make matters worse, Fox News was using my name.
Michael Moore, who knows white working class voters, has made movies about them, grew up in Michigan, had been saying all along to the Democrats, dismiss him at your own peril.
And he said, I'm warning you, I know the people who live in my state, and I know how they think, and I know what their concerns
are. To almost everyone on the planet. And it's a great thing. So this is a wish. It's a very concrete wish that we invent this technology. If you gave me only one wish for the next 50 years, I can pick who's president, I can pick a vaccine, which is something I love, I can pick a vaccine, which is something I love.
Dolls that look like children, so perverts can shag them. Then what are they going to do? That's perfectly normal. The Labour group are trying to make that normal, that it's a disease where they're just going to get dolls of children and let the perverts mess with him. So they feel as if they're messing with a child, but it's not going to cause the child any trauma because it's not a real child. That's okay, isn't it? All that sort of stuff.
Officer, listen.
Because of Wienergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it. Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop and sure enough found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just the more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing. They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times. The amount of garbage that...
You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republican. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you, because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
Face recognition cameras, and people are tracked in real time 24/7. They can find them in minutes anywhere. I've seen documentaries where they've tested the system, put someone out on the street, found them in minutes. And they run this system in China called the social credit system. And what this means is, as you are tracked by AI and your behavior recorded and registered, you get social credits for behaving the way the system wants, and you get social credits taken away for doing the other. And once you get to a certain level of losing credits, then consequences kick in. And as I said in my last book, millions, many millions of Chinese, as a result of this, have been banned from flying and even banned from trains. Now, this guaranteed income is designed to work in exactly the same way. And what they've now started to do, of course, is hand pittance money out to the people.
Who's joins us live from Brussels. Lucy, is Germany going cashless?
Yes, so that appears to be the case, and certainly that's being mirrored in a number of European countries, that using cards for all transactions does reduce the risk. We know that the virus has the potential to spread on things like banknotes. Particularly here in Brussels, we're starting to notice that a number of businesses, as well as implementing things like plexiglass screens and hand sanitizer on counters, they're also encouraging customers to pay with card as much as possible, and also to use contactless payments as opposed to typing in one's PIN.
How to safely reopen schools and restaurants and mass transit. It also included a warning that some institutions should stay closed for now. For example, it is also calling for sneeze guards on the school buses and in-class lunches rather than in cafeterias. And it also says, after we have all been wiping down our groceries, leaving stuff outside, that in this new report, they found that the virus, quote, does not spread easily from touching surfaces or objects. So here now to help us sort this out is Dr. Richard Besser, former acting CDC director under President Obama and president of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. He is also on New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy's reopening team. Dr. Besser, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Good to have you.
Thank you, Martha. It's great to be here.
So what do you think about that? It is interesting because we were told originally there's all these scary stories about how it hangs in the air for 24 hours. And then if it lands on metal, it's there for 48 to 72 hours, or on packages. That was really, a bit of the early panic in all of this. Why would that change?
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why it would be so valuable to hear from CDC scientists every day. Early on, when a new infectious agent appears, what we don't know far exceeds what we do know. So there's work that's done in laboratories. So work in a laboratory may say, well, we found in the laboratory this survives for a certain number of hours on different types of surfaces, and we can find it in the air. What you then need to do is say, okay, let's look in the community at what are the important ways this is spreading. And that's where you can see, yeah, well, in the laboratory you found that, but we found in the community that it's really being close to somebody who's sick within 6 feet. That's the important thing. And those other ways are not so important.
Yeah.
It's absolutely key so that we get to the peak and those numbers really start to come down. Within a month or so of hitting that peak, if we put in place the right prioritized testing, where the right people are tested and they get quick results, and we have contact tracing, then we will be able to start opening up. But it won't be a totally normal situation until we get a vaccine so that everybody's protected. So,
vaccine for everyone?
Excuse me, you're going to have to remove it. You can't hear through you.
Do you mean a fully approved vaccine for the entire general public or a partially approved vaccine for emergency use? Sorry, let me repeat that now. I'm closer to the mic. Do you mean a fully approved vaccine for everyone, the full public, or a partially approved vaccine with emergency use?
No, we're looking for a full vaccine for everyone that wants to get it. Not everybady's going to want to get it.
World leaders and organizations are working towards coming up with a vaccine for COVID-19. But even before a vaccine is developed, anti-vaccination protests have already started in Europe and in the United States. Anti-vaccination protests, you heard that right. At a time when health experts are emphasizing that a vaccine will be needed to return to normal life, the anti-vaxxers are the new predicament. The prospect of compulsory vaccination has boosted a protest movement across cities in Europe. Many are lashing out at Bill Gates for funding the vaccine research. Gates had pledged $300 million. He has been accused of using the COVID-19 vaccination project to implant a location tracking microchip into the vaccine recipient. The conspiracy theory has gained a lot of traction among the fringe groups. The Alliance of Anti-Vaxxers has now been filling the town squares of major European cities such as Berlin, Zurich and Vienna. The resistance is beginning to trouble the government leaders as well, as they have been easing the lockdowns to reboot their economies. To tackle the coronavirus long term, governments are now facing a number of challenges. Should a majority of the population be immunized as quickly as possible? Or does compulsory vaccination also risk instigating a mass movement? A survey by the Vaccine Confidence Project and ORB conducted in Europe indicates the growing resistance to the vaccine, especially in countries that have escaped the worst. In Switzerland, 20% people said that they will not get vaccinated. Likewise, in Austria, vaccine resistance was 18%. In Germany, 9% have opposed vaccination. And in the UK, 10% were unwilling to take vaccination. In France, anti-vaccination sentiments have also been fed by a wider distrust of the central government. Similarly, in the United States, anti-vaccination protests have been gaining a lot of traction in California, New York, Colorado, and Texas. According to a YouGov survey, only half of the surveyed Americans are willing to get vaccinated, while scientists believe immunizing about 70% of the people should suffice. There are concerns that the vaccine skeptics could hamper the overall vaccination efforts. Perhaps a voluntary program instead of a mandatory one is the smarter way forward at this point.
This wave.
This happened during pandemics in the past. It certainly happened in the pandemic of 1919 and the Spanish flu. We got a second peak, not necessarily a second wave. And therefore, I think right now, countries in Europe, countries in North America, many other countries around the world in Southeast Asia have to continue to put in place the public health and social measures, the surveillance measures, the public health measures, the testing measures, and a comprehensive strategy to ensure that we continue on a downward trajectory.
President Donald Trump is someone who has been backing it publicly at many forums. In fact, he is a person who accepted that he has been using it as a preventive measure, and that is why it got its own popularity. We know India has been sending HCQ to so many countries across the world and being the pharmacy of the world. But talking about the current decision taken by WHO, it will have its own ramification because the world seems to be banking on this drug as a solution. But talking about the India-specific part, the fact that India never said that it will be used for treatment, it will be only used as preventive measure for the frontline workers. That was something that India has been saying since day one. Now, of course, the World Health Organization saying that suspending it will impact when it comes to global trials which have been going across the world regarding HCQ as a preventive or at least as a solution to the COVID crisis, because as of now we know that COVID is something which has no vaccine. The countries are trying to develop vaccine, but till the time there is no vaccine, people would like to have a kind of temporary solution. In fact, HCQ is something that has been showing its positive impact as well as negative impact. In fact, one thing I can tell you, that HCQ is something that especially impacts the liver and
that Hong Kong maintains a high degree of autonomy, and if that happens, there will be sanctions that will be imposed on Hong Kong and China. It's hard to see how Hong Kong could remain the Asian financial center that it's become if China takes over.
National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien says the U.S. may slap sanctions on Beijing over a new law which would threaten Hong Kong's independence. Benjamin Hall reporting live on the latest. Benjamin.
Yeah, hi, Trace. And China is using last year's pro-democracy protests as an excuse to bring in this new law. They claim that last year's protests were a national security threat and they needed to be responded to. As a result, we have seen further protests over the past weekend with 120 people arrested, the tear gas fired all over the city. This new law from Beijing would ban treason, subversion and sedition against the Chinese government. Protesters worry that the law will open the door to mass arrests, letting Chinese spies and security forces operate freely in Hong Kong, effectively ending the one country, two systems principle. National security.
This developing story, protesters in Hong Kong clashing with police over China's plan to impose tough new security laws over the territory. CNN's Ivan Watson is live in Hong Kong with the latest. Ivan.
Tonight. This is a Fox News election alert. Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
Battle. Countless other American patriots have given their own testimony about the meaning of the flag. One was World War II veteran Jim Krebs from Sunbury, Ohio. Jim and his twin brother Jack fought side by side in General Patton's Third Army. At the Battle of the Bulge, the twins volunteered for a dangerous mission. Together they took out 4 enemy tanks, 2 machine gun nests, and a mother position that was very powerful, loaded up with mortars. Jim's brother, Jack, was mortally wounded. Jim held his dying brother in his arms, praying together as his twin passed away. Jim fought to victory and came home to build a great American life. He married, had children, became an electrical engineer, and taught young people about war. As an old man, Jim was asked, what about the American flag and what it meant to him? Jim said, the flag to me is as precious as the freedom that the flag stands for. It's as precious to me as the thousands of lives that have been lost defending her. It's that important to me. It gave me a value of life that I could have never gotten any other way. It gave me a value of my Lord, my family, my friends, loved ones, and especially my country. What more could I ask? Last month, Jim died peacefully at his home at the age of 94. This afternoon, we are greatly honored to be joined by his grandsons, Andy and Ron. Please, thank you very much.